Hi, and welcome to the Not Your Normal Life show. I'm Naomi.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is where we talk about
the not so normal lives that we all live. Let's go. All right, welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
We are so glad that you guys are joining us on this great podcast that we call the Not Your Normal Life podcast.
Yes, and this is episode 28.
We are on episode 28, people, and congratulations to Not Your Normal Life. We have hit 1,000 downloads on the episode. Woo!
On all our episodes.
I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is our 28th episode, and so we're pretty pumped that people listen. Because we're just kind of talking, recording it. And
even with taking a break, people have come back. You all have come back. It's amazing.
Thank you.
We couldn't have done this without you guys. Honestly, it would have been just me and Naomi just talking to ourselves, which we already do. But
but no one could listen to us.
But no one could listen to us.
So thanks for listening. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah.
We hope you like the content we're pushing out in the new year.
So it's definitely already starting to be a good new year. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what the future has for us.
For sure. Maybe we'll make some more merch.
The people that got the face mask, congratulations. Hope you guys love the face mask.
Better be wearing them.
We love it.
Yeah,
I know Tracy wears it all the time. Almost every time to church, I see her with it on. And we just want to make sure that you guys know we didn't just choose these people. We let a spinning wheel decide who won these masks.
We truly did.
What it landed on was what it landed on.
We put every name in.
Yep.
And it was
if you only put one in, you only had one name. But if you put multiple, you had multiple names. So
if you don't know what we're talking about, we gave away free face masks.
Yep. And we hope to be giving out some more new stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully giving out new stuff, such as like coffee mugs and stuff like that. That's what our plan is. But episode 28 today, Naomi, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about being millennials because we're obsessed with ourselves.
So if you're not a millennial, just turn off right now.
No,
just listen to us.
We were talking about, me and Aaron were talking about just being millennials, and it feels like there's a lot of stereotypes for millennials. Mm-hmm. Like we're lazy, we are self-obsessed, we need trophies for everything, which a lot of that is true. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You just like categorized yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I need verbal trophies like constantly at work.
I do too in the house from you.
Exactly. It's just validation.
Aaron, you put your plate in the sink. Good job.
I don't know why people are so mad about trophies. Trophies are fabulous and they make you feel good and whatever.
This all kind of sparked actually to give you guys a little inside scoop of the Shermans. We are trying to buy a home and we got pre-approved. We got our pre-approval letter. We got all that. Whoop, whoop.
And we've never owned a home before.
Never owned a home before. And so like I'm talking to our real estate agent and she's like, hey, you need to have the money to come in on the deal. I was like, what are you talking about, money on a deal? I have a loan for such and such amount of money. That's the deal. Like you're getting that. And she goes, no, you need to have like incentive for them to want to choose your
earnest money.
Your earnest money. Your good, like a good, what did they call it?
I forget what it's called, but you know.
See how millennial we are? We don't even know this stuff. And if you're listening, you're like a millennial and you're like, oh gosh. It's like we've been married for 9 years and this is the first time we're in the process of trying to buy a home.
We're excited because again, if you've listened to our podcast before, we filed bankruptcy not that long ago.
2 years.
And we've really struggled with finances. So we've definitely have taken a new turn. We got pre-approved for a home loan, which we're super excited about. But one of the stereotypes about millennials is that we don't buy homes. And you know why we don't buy homes? Because the market freaking sucks. Me and Aaron are looking at houses, and I don't know what it is. Like, I envisioned when I bought my first house, I'd be able to go walk through like 7 different homes.
A day.
Yeah, like one a day for a whole week. And then me and Aaron would sit down on the couch one night after looking at these houses and look at all of the pictures of these beautiful homes and really prayerfully decide which house we were supposed to raise our family in. You guys need to be seeing
how Naomi's acting right now. It's super passionate.
I just had this envisioned moment of how I would buy my first house. Like, I didn't realize nowadays when you walk into a house, you literally have to know you want that house.
Yeah.
Like, even when you look at it on your phone, a picture, you better know you want that house because someone's about to buy it.
Like talking to our real estate agent, like we're supposed to be meeting with her this weekend. And like I sent her a home. She goes, "Can you meet today to look at it?" I was like, "No, I can't get over there to look at it." She's like, I'm like, "But is it okay to come tomorrow? Is still going to be enough time to come tomorrow? Will it be gone?"
Sold?
She goes, "We'll find out. We'll see what happens in the morning."
It's just wild to me. And I think that's one of the reasons it's like home ownership, at least for millennials, feels impossible. Because for one, it's expensive. It is so expensive.
Unless you have the VA home loan.
Yeah, even with the VA home loan, like houses are expensive. And I don't want to buy a dumpy little beater house for like $150,000. Like I want a home for my family.
Such a millennial.
Yeah, because I'm entitled to raise my family in a beautiful house, I guess. But no, I feel like a lot of millennials were raised in that kind of home. Like my mom was a stay-at-home mom. Yeah. My dad worked, and somehow on my dad's like IT help desk salary, we were able to buy like this mega house. And why is that not possible for millennials? I'm livid right now.
The only thing I'm thinking about is like The Office right now. It goes, "Well, how are you going to pay me back on your zero salary, zero benefits, babe?"
Perfect.
When you said that. So sorry.
Exactly. Well, that's how it feels. I feel like we make, like, we're not super poor, but we're definitely not rich. We're like kind of like the middle class, I feel like. And we should be able to buy a nice house. And I feel
buy
like
a house.
Yeah. And it's like a house, a friggin' 3-bedroom house. Should not be hard.
But when you look at it, I know we're like getting on a tangent with just buying a home.
Just a little bit.
If you look, like we're looking at the market, we're like, oh my gosh, things are going so quick here. Everywhere we look around the state, it just goes. And then we look at Texas, and they're like $230,000 for a 5-bedroom brand new home built. Crazy. And I'm like looking at Naomi, I'm like, let's go. Yeah. Let's just go to Texas. I want to get myself a Texas accent and wear boots and wear a cowboy hat.
Let's just do it. I'm done.
Joking. We're just trying to see, and we're like, wow, why don't we move there where it's like super cheap to buy a home and they're readily available and everyone's not fighting each other over to get like a small plot of land.
And I guess this doesn't have to do with millennials, but it
kind of does though.
Like,
so
at least especially in the Seattle area, like I literally set like a $400,000 max. Like that's huge. First of all, we're not going to buy a $400,000 house, but I put that as my max when I'm searching on Zillow. And you go into the Seattle area and there's nothing except for I did find a really cool house on the water.
It's already
like
sold.
A houseboat type
and it's
of
already
deal.
sold.
It was already sold, but I'm down for that. I think I could live on the water and have a good time
with our kids.
Sure, why not?
All right,
we can afford it. So, but going back to like that stereotype that millennials don't buy houses. Yeah, we've been renting apartments and renting houses since we got married, and we have kids and we're raising kids in a rental, and it works because we can leave whenever we want. We can cancel our lease. We can go get a new lease in a new city miles away. There's no commitment. And actually, going to that, I think millennials don't like commitment. Millennials don't want to commit to marriage.
Relationships.
They don't want to commit to a house because that's a big expense.
Some. We're not saying all millennials. We're saying
that is a big,
a big majority of millennials.
Yeah, and I can name quite a few friends that fall into these categories. None of them are listening to this podcast. I'm just kidding.
What if they are?
I'm just getting crazy. You're fine. No, it just feels like commitment is hard for millennials.
Yeah. It is definitely. Commitment is very difficult for millennials to be a part of. We've noticed it in ourselves, committing to tasks, committing to church, committing to,
and jobs.
Don't get Naomi started on jobs. Actually, she does want to talk about working, the millennials in the workplace.
Yeah. So
this is kind of the Naomi episode.
I've had a lot of feelings about being a millennial lately.
I'm the commentator.
No, I just feel like millennials get a hard time about work. And
they do.
I can see both sides to these stereotypes where it's like the stereotype, the millennial is entitled to what they make at a job and entitled that, they don't want to start at the low level job. They want to have the best job out of college, which I have seen that vibe, and I've seen millennials be very picky. And, I have certain people in my life where I'm like, dude, you can't be picky. Like, you just got to pick a job and you got to start and you got to work hard. But I also know a lot of millennials that work super hard.
Like yourself.
And yeah, I think it bothers me because I feel like I work really hard and I'm a millennial.
Yeah.
Like, I work my butt off.
But like the bad thing about millennials is they don't want to ask for raises. They don't.
Women
Millennials or just millennials in general?
I think women.
will
not ask for a raise.
Okay. I think millennials in general are just expect that they should get the raise.
Oh, I see what you... Okay. Yeah.
That like when you're
they're-
at a job, you just
Yeah.
expect to get the promotion
Okay,
and not
true.
have to work for the promotion.
Yeah. No, I get that. That makes sense.
You start in the entry level and you're like, oh, I'm going to be here. And then you start getting bitter because
Mm-hmm.
all your friends that you got hired on with, all the people you know start getting new jobs or promoted, and you're still sitting in the same dead end job.
Yeah.
And you're asking, why am I still in this situation? Because you're not trying. And I think that's a lot of problems with the
Yeah, no, I
millennials.
get that.
So
Like,
there are a
basically
lot of
feeling-
hardworking millennials like yourself. I notice you and I see how hard you work. And then there's other millennials that just literally will sit around and just wait for the job to just be given to them, not actually have to show themselves. So I'm trying to be the reason.
No, that makes sense.
Naomi's trying to be the argumentative why
I
millennials
just
are
feel
so great.
like I know more hardworking millennials than I do lazy millennials. And maybe that's just the people that are in my life.
Maybe you should be a stay-at-home dad. You start learning who the...
That's not lazy, Aaron. You have a lot to do.
Actually, I do. I'm really exhausted after
You
today.
teach first grade from home.
I'm learning first grade.
You're doing a stellar job.
I'm learning. Do you know, actually, okay, this is really sad, off topic, but I did not know about super E's. I didn't know that if an E is at the end, it makes the vowel say its name. And I did not, like, literally, I have never known that. I just have looked at a word and I was like, that's the word. I didn't know that certain letters in certain spots cause other letters to say different ways.
You're funny.
I didn't know that.
I'm so glad that you are learning so much.
I am.
From home.
We sit there and we learn together.
That's funny. No, yeah. So you're working hard from home
Yeah.
as a stay-at-home dad. But I do feel like I know more hardworking millennials than I do the lazy ones.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's just the people in this area that we know, or if that's true for other millennials. Like, I'd love to hear that. I just feel like, at least in the workplace, like, my coworkers that are millennials work hard.
Yeah, they
And
work very hard.
They work
And-
overtime, and they work on the weekends, and they work as much as they can to earn the promotions that they feel that they deserve.
And I think it's very hard for millennials to achieve. So we talked about housing, jobs, and all that thing. I think it's a lot harder because I think millennials do have a sense of bitterness inside them, and regarding of looking at our grandparents or looking at our parents or looking at others and saying, you literally kept the same job for 70, 60 years and you were able to buy a home, buy cars, take care of your family. You probably worked so hard to have that, but you got to only keep one job. Naomi, how many jobs have you had in the last...
I mean, I haven't changed jobs as much as
But
some people,
even
but
within one... So you were at
That's true.
one company
Yes, I've worked
for
for
8 years.
3 companies in the past, 9 years.
9 years.
And inside my first company, I worked at my first company for 8 years, and I had 4 jobs.
Inside
that
job.
company.
You kept moving to move yourself up the chain.
Yeah, I know
Well,
the
some people
strategies.
literally just... Our grandparents and people below
yeah.
just literally could keep the same
Well, and
sales
that's
job.
frustrating. Yeah,
And
I feel like everyone has either their parent or a grandparent, or of somebody older than you that has literally worked for the same company their whole life, and they get promotions and they move up the ladder, and they're loyal to that company is loyal to them. And that does not exist anymore.
Nope.
And I feel like that generation looks at millennials and they're like, oh, you don't understand. If you'd only work harder, if you'd stay committed and loyal to a company, you would get promoted, you'd make more money. And that's
this is
not true.
I want to make sure that people realize that we are not bashing on baby boomers.
No,
we're
no,
not
no.
bashing
I'm just
on
saying
any
things
other
that-
groups. We're just talking about the millennial
Yes.
group. So if you're listening, you're like, wow, Aaron and Naomi don't like baby boomers.
No.
We love baby boomers.
I just think things have changed.
Yes, and
And
it's harder.
It's not as simple as just getting a good job you're qualified
Yeah.
for and sticking to it. It really seems like, actually, this is the thing. It's called the boomerang hire. And it happens in white collar jobs all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Where you get a job at a company, you work there for about a year, you leave to the competitor to get more salary, and then you bounce back to the original company because now you have credibility because you worked somewhere else.
And they have to hire at the higher
And
salary.
they have to pay you that new salary. And it's called the boomerang hire. You literally bounce from company to company, getting a new salary and getting raises and promotions. Yeah. And that's what you have to do now. You can't work. Yes, there are anomalies where you can work at one job and you are amazing and people
work your way
promote
up.
you.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen, and that's great. But for the most part, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
You got to jump around now.
You got to work really hard.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this before we got on the podcast today. The one thing I have noticed about the millennial generation, every generation has their little tick. Like my parents' generation, my mom, it's all about the television. Like, I love you, Mom. If you're listening, I love you. But there's a difference between me and you where you love to watch TV and I love to be on my phone.
Yes,
and the millennial
phones.
generation is all about the phone.
Right.
Like I can care less what's on the TV. Like I can spend more time just sitting on a couch on my phone than sitting in front of a TV. Like we don't have cable, and that's why I always like joke with my mom because whenever she comes up to visit, she's like, "What are we gonna watch on TV?" I was like, "What do you mean? What are we gonna watch? The TV is literally for kids shows, and that's about it. Like watch it on your phone. Like that's how we do it here." And I just notice more and more millennials don't care about TV as much. Like we care to have a TV and we want to watch stuff if it's there, but I see more and more millennials choosing not to have cable or paying for that service and stuff like that because it's just they have it all on their phones.
Yeah,
they have the capability right there in their hands.
And I feel like we grew up as the phone grew up, right? Like I got my first phone when I was in high school, and it was like a flip phone that had nothing on it besides like calling my mom and texting my friends. And when texting, you had to pay by the text.
Oh, I got in so much trouble.
I did too. I'd go over.
I'd
be like thousands.
Oh my
How
gosh.
the heck do I text on a phone with like ABC and T9 to people? That's
T9.
amazing. If you know what T9 is, you're a millennial and can finish this podcast with us.
And then also what we were talking about is I have noticed about the millennial generation is we look to celebrities and famous people and politicians. We care more about seeing the blue check mark on people than we care about the people around us.
Yeah.
Like we really millennials care so much about what's happening on TikTok or what's happening on Instagram. I'm one exception. Sometimes I care about certain individuals that I like follow on YouTube and stuff like that. But for the most part, I can care less of what a celebrity thinks or what they do or how they're acting or what is Kim Kardashian doing today. I really don't care. But our generation, I've noticed so many in our generation are absorbed in wanting to know what is going on in the rich and famous. Life of the rich and famous.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and I think that's stems from social media. Again, social media developed while we were growing up, and so it's kind of like the world is at your fingertips. The internet is all in your hand on your phone, and you can easily see what celebrities are doing on their Instagram and on their pages or whatever that you follow them on. And so, I think that like obsessiveness kind of comes from that. And I, for one, I do that with a lot of Christian celebrities.
yeah, you do.
Like I love whatever you want to label the Instagram pastors.
Okay, I just want to make one thing very clear. If Mike Todd is not blue check mark, there's a problem. Mike Todd deserves to be a blue check mark.
He's a pastor.
He has over 1 million followers.
Yeah.
And he has no blue check mark. I know he doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
He doesn't care about having it, which is awesome. But it's just like I've seen people with only 10,000 followers with a blue check mark, but he has millions of followers. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, that is odd. But I loved like the Instagram famous Christian pastors. Like I'm obsessed. And I like following them because I get like little mini sermon clips on my Instagram feed. And I freaking love that. Like sometimes those literally change my day. Like I could be scrolling through social media and I hear like a really awesome like Stephen Furtick clip from his last sermon. And I'm like, holy crap, I need more of that. So I can go listen to the rest of his sermon.
Yeah.
So I like following those
Or
pastors.
if Mike Todd has a really good like snippet from his last sermon and you're like, oh, I got to watch that. Even though it's like 2 hours long.
Yeah, his sermons are pretty long.
You got to get into it because they're really good. And so.
But I think a lot of Christians are like me in that way where it's like following, celebrity pastor wise on Instagram is nice because it breaks up the day a little bit.
But in the church, we have to be careful of that because we just saw what happened with Hillsong with the lead pastor from Hillsong because it's of giving all that fame to them. Can cause them to fall. So
yeah, but that's
themselves. I'm just saying that we have to be careful not to cling on to them, and that's what I think millennials have a problem with: is we cling to celebrityhood, and then when we see them fail, we feel insignificant more.
Interesting.
Because like if they failed, I definitely fail way too much.
That's true.
But it's still good to see pastors on Instagram.
I like it. I mean,
I think it's good. I love Stephen Furtick. I love the things that he has to say.
Yeah.
For a while, I didn't like Stephen Furtick, and then I started listening to his sermons. I was like, I kind of like this guy. But I like Mike Todd.
anyways, but yeah, and I think social media also kind of has created this culture with millennials and what are they called? Zoomers? The next ones? Zoom. Generation Z? Zoom. I feel like with social media, we've all become like obsessed with ourselves.
Yeah.
And just having that, you know, posting selfies. Like we're the generation that made the selfie. We have freaking selfie sticks. Like we are obsessed with what we're doing and we want everyone to know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we want you to like it.
True. So enough bashing of the millennial group.
No, I mean,
millennials are very hardworking individuals. I still think, right?
I agree. And I told you, I feel like I know a lot of hardworking millennials. The thing, though, is I feel like millennials feel like they're overqualified for things.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I know. I feel like I'm overqualified for everything, and I'm
Yeah, and there is something to be said for, like, doing your time. Like, my first job out of college, literally, it was like 2009, and the market crashed, and there was no jobs. And I was like, why did I go to college? I'm not going to get a job. And I got a job cold calling people in. I worked a sales job. I sucked at it. And I worked in that job for 6 months. And while I was working in that job from day one, I started looking for a new one because I knew I'm just the kind of person that I will not just quit when I don't like my job.
She'll keep
persisting. I'll keep it if I'm literally suicidal, I will keep going to work.
Trust me, I've watched it.
So I hated my life for 6 months, but I decided that I knew I needed some sort of job history. Mm-hmm. So I kept going. And literally my job started at 6 a.m. and I would have to cold call East Coast companies and try to sell them IT software.
She had one sale and she screwed it up.
I had one sale and I sold them the wrong thing. It was such a confusing job. I did not know what I was selling.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely sold him the wrong thing and he returned it, but whatever.
And he was pissed.
It still counted. But I stuck that job out because I knew I needed some sort of job history.
And look what happened. You stayed at that company for 8 years.
Exactly. So after my 6 months, my manager was like, this is not a job for you. You are terrible at this, which I knew. And so thankfully he saw like my tenacity and like how I kept coming to work even though I hated it, and I kept doing my calls. And so he actually found me a better job, which was an admin job that literally has like set the path for my entire career.
Yeah.
So all that to say is I feel like a lot of millennials are extra picky about like that first job, or they start a job and they're like, you know what, this is not fulfilling me.
I'll go to the next one.
Yeah. And no job is ever going to fulfill you.
Ooh.
This is actually, I just read a book about this by Allie Stuckley. It's called, what is it called?
You're not good enough, and that's okay.
Exactly. Thanks, Aaron. And that whole book talks about how no career, even if you got your dream job, is never going to fulfill you.
Yeah.
And so millennials have this idea that if they get their dream job, they'll finally feel like they're giving to the world and satisfied. And it's not true. Yeah. It's just not.
No.
And
a company will get rid of the other thing is people like the loyalty that people think they have with their company. They think they're like, oh, I can never be getting rid of. They'll never get rid of me. I'm too important to this job. No, you're just another number.
Seriously.
Like you need to understand that you are just a number to
when they got to do budget cuts, a lot of really good people let go, and you never know why.
Nope. And you shouldn't take it personal. It's just it's a numbers game. It's a money game. But what was I gonna say? Something else.
That's okay.
No, there was something else.
Oh. Yeah. Participation trophies. We kind of talked about it at the beginning.
We did.
I love them. Keep them coming.
Nope. I'm a millennial that hates participation trophies.
Give me all the trophies.
See, I don't like participation trophies because if you sucked at something, you shouldn't deserve anything. Like if Marcus does soccer, or baseball or football or something like that, and his team gets last place, he doesn't deserve anything. All you deserve is say, hey, next time, you need to try a little bit harder. Yeah. And be able to get you get to second place. Yeah, you get the second place trophy, but anything below second place is nothing.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't think people should be getting, just because you participated in something doesn't mean you should just be rewarded for participating in it. I guess. No, I don't think you should. Honestly, don't think you should. And millennials are so hell-bent on being people that received praise for doing nothing sometimes.
Well, I also feel like we were made this way, okay? We didn't ask for the participation trophy when we were in soccer or basketball.
I never got a participation.
Oh, I have like 10 of them at my mom's house.
I never got a participation trophy. Maybe once when I was in track, but I threw it in the trash because I didn't win. I got rid of it. I was just like, that's nothing. If I didn't get if that thing didn't say first place on it, I didn't want it.
You're like garbage.
Because all that reminds me is I failed.
Oh.
That's all that reminded me of.
Well, I grew up with a different experience, Aaron, clearly. Maybe it was because you lived in Southern California.
Very competitive spirit down there.
That's not what I meant, but sure.
But like if I didn't win in it, I didn't want any gratification. I all I wanted was to be told, Aaron, try harder next time.
Okay.
If you try harder, you can achieve that first place and be that kid on the podium getting to hold his gold medal. You know, that's the goal. The goal is not to get the medal that says, hey, you tried, but you suck. Like, that's all it says to me. So I don't like
Well, I guess we were raised a little different because I loved my trophies.
Yeah, you do.
And it still motivated me, Aaron. Even if I didn't get first place, it still motivated me that I could get first place. But I still got this trophy that's still shiny.
Just motivates you to be like, all I got to do is show up and get something. And that's the problem with millennials is all I got to do is show up to my job and I'll be given that promotion.
I showed up to sports when I was a kid because I wanted the snack. I wanted the oranges and the Rice Krispie treats. That's why I went to soccer.
Capri Sun.
Oh, yeah. Just hit different after you got off the soccer field. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, I just had a Capri Sun the other day. So gross.
Oh, they're sick.
So gross.
They're like
I don't know why I
so
give them
sugary.
my kids.
Ugh.
My kids love them.
Or the Kool-Aid ones with the twist-off plastic top.
Oh, those are gross.
But they were good.
They were good. No, they're really bad.
Your taste buds change, people.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, this wasn't just to be like a bash on millennials. This wasn't to be like, millennials are so amazing. This is just to kind of talk about... As millennials of what we go through and what we experience. I do experience a sense of, I'm too young to do something. I'm 30 now, and I still feel like I'm too young to achieve things. I'm too young to be able to be something. I look at, I'm not trying to be political or anything, but I look at our Congress and most of them are in their 70s. They're in their 60s and 70s. And I'm like, why do you need to be there? Why don't we have younger people like in their 40s and 50s serving? Why are we having people so old serving, like in their older age? This is not a bash on people that are older. Of course not. But it's just like, I feel like we can never achieve if we're never given the opportunity.
Right. And I do feel that vibe at work too. It's like, honestly, I'll be honest, I've never really felt like people look down on me because I'm a woman. I feel like more people look down on me because of my age.
You said it.
I'm serious. I would be the first to tell you that I'm lucky and I've had really great bosses that don't discriminate against my gender, but I feel like I definitely get like some ageism. Yeah. And I feel like that's just like a vibe that a lot of millennials have is like, we're never going to feel adult enough to like step into the shoes of our parents.
Yeah.
And we should have probably.
And that's why I'm like terrified to buy a house. I don't feel like I'm capable of owning it.
You're
like I know I'm capable of owning a home and
paying mortgage
and paying a mortgage because I can do it.
Yeah.
And I've gotten better at balancing budgets. And so, but I still feel like I'm a kid. I walk into a room with a bunch of other people and I still feel like a 12-year-old kid. And I feel like I'm looked at as a 12-year-old kid because I'm a millennial. I think it's because I am a millennial.
Yeah.
And they bunch us into Zoomers.
Probably.
So anyways.
And it happens a lot in church ministry too. Like I feel like, at least with our denomination, Foursquare, I feel like they're really good at promoting young leaders.
They try.
But I still feel like a lot of those young leaders don't feel qualified.
No.
Like we kind of feel like if we just act the part sometimes in church and at work and in life, whatever, if we like act the part, maybe we'll learn it as we go. But I think there's always this like secret vibe that a lot of millennials have where you like feel, what's that word? Where you feel,
inadequate?
No. Yes. It'll come to me right after we're done with this podcast. No, it's like where you are acting in a position you don't feel qualified for. And the constant like lie in your head that you're not supposed to be there.
I don't know. Anyways,
it's a thing and there's a word. But I feel like a lot of millennials have that where we don't feel like we should be in these positions because we still feel like kids.
Yeah. And then when
And,
we
yeah.
are in the positions and we get like positions of like leadership, we're not taken serious enough in ministry. And I've experienced it, and it's not fun. But
So to all you millennials out there, be encouraged.
be encouraged. Keep trying.
You are an adult.
You don't deserve a participation trophy, even if you think you do. But
And I
do
think
know
it
you
is
have
just
to
like-
work hard.
Working hard, and not only for like, don't just work hard for people's validation, but like for yourself and for God. Like working hard to know that you're worth it.
You're worth it too, L'Oreal. Is that
Sure.
okay? Well, I'm Aaron,
And I'm Naomi,
and this has been Not Your Normal Life,
and we're millennials.
and we are millennials.
We love you.
We'll see you guys next week. Bye.